Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Neenah Common Council for Wednesday, October 6, 2021. Proper notices have been given. If you haven't signed in yet, please sign in on the roll call machine, and the clerk will call the roll.
Alderperson Boyette.
Here.
Bates.
Here.
Hillstrom.
Here.
Lendrum.
Here.
Orchard.
Here.
Lang.
Here.
Skirms.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Stevenson.
Here.
All members are here.
Sorry.
All members are present. The Pledge of Allegiance tonight will be led by the mayor.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic of the nation under God, indivisible, with liberty.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Beautiful October weather. Another day in the 70s, they said, and more to come, so totally unusual. More days in the 70s, September and October than ever before or something, I thought I read. So the item number 2 on tonight's agenda, we have one retiree I'd like to recognize who retired in the previous month, and that is our Deputy Fire Chief Victor Voss of Neenah Menasha Fire Rescue. Victor retired last week, 31 years and 3 months with the Neenah Fire, and Victor is going to retire and do some things with his hometown fire and EMS service back in his hometown. So Victor, I will tell you this, Victor did a great job for us, in my opinion. He was conscientious, a lot of leadership capabilities, did so many training things, was heavily into training, did an excellent job on the budget, in my opinion. Came well prepared, and he's going to be missed, so we wish him well in his retirement. Next item of business is item number 3, which is the approval of the council proceedings of September 7th, 15th, and 27th. Is there a motion to approve those 3 council proceedings?
Move to approve.
There's a motion by Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Skirms. Any comments, questions, corrections, or? Seeing none. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of approving the council proceedings? Hearing no objection, that's so ordered. Item number 4 is a public forum. Do not see anyone here tonight to speak during the public forum. Item number 6 is the consent agenda. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion by Lang, seconded by Stevenson, to approve the consent agenda. Questions, or anyone need any explanations? Alderman Boyette.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just curious, I'm sure it's like an oops, but
Item A is already passed.
Yeah, we do that every once in a while. So,
Okay.
it's a timing issue and so. I will just mention that I plan on having a discussion yet. I tried today with the high school principal, just to remind and make sure that for the homecoming parade, they make sure that they clean up at the start and finish. They're actually we're bringing in a dumpster or something, or a leach truck or something, so that they can get rid of the stuff after. So, last year they did a pretty good job, so, compared to some previous years, but they got her down, and he's well aware of it. They'll make sure that it's taken care of. Sure. So, with that, Alderman Lindrum?
Thank you, Mayor. Can you just put something on the Facebook page for the possible traffic issue during that time?
Yeah.
I just want to warn people, like I said before, I think it's going to take longer than 30 minutes, so
Okay.
it'd be nice to warn people because that is rush hour.
Yeah, good idea. I think Joni was planning on it. Her and I had talked about that already because that time is a busier time, but they are starting at 5, so maybe they'll be okay. Police department's well aware of it. They're going to do their best to manage traffic flow. They're going to break up the parade a little bit so that they can get people through in between, things like that. They do have a plan. Alderman Skirms?
Quick question, item E, change of agent. What does that mean? Is they just have a different lawyer on the form that we contact?
I'm sorry. Restate your question.
It's not a, it's just a different person who's responsible for the
Okay,
business.
that's what I thought. Thank you.
Yeah. They have to delegate one person who we can contact to be in charge of that
Okay, thank you.
operation. Everyone with a class B or A has it. All right. Seeing no one else, is there any objection? Unanimous consent for tonight's consent agenda? Hearing no objection, that's so ordered. Report of the standing committees. The Public Services and Safety Committee meeting, there's no report. The Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of September 27th, Chairperson Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of September 27th, 2021. Item number 1, report, recommend council authorize the CDA to proceed with acquisition of 216, not 219. Please note the change. Bryan Street at the accepted offer price of $270,000, utilizing tax incremental finance district 8 funds, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Erickson, seconded by Alderman,
Second.
That's wrong button, sorry.
that's okay. Erickson and Stevenson. And just, there was a technical correction of 216 Bryan Street. Thank you. Discussion on this item. Alderman Skirms? No? Okay. Alderman Bates?
Yes, the CDA met yesterday, and we approved it there, too.
This is another, strategic acquisition for possible use for city purposes or other purposes. All right. Seeing no one else, there's a motion and a second. All in favor will vote aye. Any opposed, vote no, as on the roll call machine, please. That motion passes 9-0.
Item 1B, recommend council authorize the purchase of an exterior digital sign for City Hall from Appleton Sign Company at a cost of $17,049 and electrical services from Keel Electric, Inc., not to exceed $1,600, with funding that was approved in the Information Systems 2021 capital equipment budget, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Erickson. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman
I didn't-
Borchert.
Sorry.
I will say that There has been some discussion on location. I think well-deserved discussion. Joe and I are going to bring the company out to see if there's any implications to putting it either over the window of the mayor's office or the window or the underneath the letters. One of those two sides seems like that may be a better spot than the actual corner. Just so you know. Alderman Lundrum?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to be voting against this. This is just a total waste of money. Anyone that is too handicapped, I guess, to come up to the door and read any of our signs still has a phone at home and can call in. There's many ways of getting information out to the public, whether they are on the internet or not. And $17,000 it's just a waste when we have other budgetary constraints. So I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Alderman Boyette, or Bates, I'm sorry.
Mayor, I was going to ask Director Hayes, what's the current restrictions on digital signs? It used to be that you couldn't have too many colors, you couldn't have moving characters, that sort of thing.
The restriction is no animation. You can have scrolling or changing text, or pictures for that matter, but no live animation.
And so you can't have things scrolling too fast because you don't want people distracted from driving.
Correct.
Thank you.
And Alderman Boyette.
Thank you. So I just quickly, the 17,049, was that one bid, or did we out, or did we just decide on that company, or I'm not sure how we came to the 17,049.
There were two bids.
I'm guessing this is. I too will be voting against this. I don't agree with it for many reasons.
Anyone else? This is a proposal that came out of my office. I will just say this. There's a reason why businesses, churches, all over the community are going to this type of information for their business, for their church, for their, it's information is key, and especially here. Many times we have people who come inside while the wife or husband stay out in the car. So there's not a better way to disseminate information about what's going on in this community than this initiative. And, they're not cheap, but I think 5 or 6 different of these new signs have went up in the community in the last year. So I just think it's a good opportunity to disseminate information. You see the Dairy Queen got a new sign just today or yesterday, I think. So, it's a valuable tool, I think, in my opinion. Alderman Bates.
What was the budget on this?
20.
Thank you.
And we came in under budget. So time will tell, but I think it'd be a good purchase. Anyone else? Seeing none, all in favor, vote aye. All opposed, any opposed, vote no. The roll call machine, please. There are 7 ayes, 2 noes. That passes.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you for the report. Item number 8 is the report of any special committees, liaisons, various special projects. There was no plan commission meeting. Item number B is the Board of Public Works meeting of October 5th, 2021. Vice Chairperson Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. The minutes from this meeting can be found on the city website. There's one informational item this evening. The board recommended the Waterworks Commission approve final payment contract 1-21W Courtney Court Water Main Extension to Robert J. Immel of Greenville, Wisconsin, in the amount of $56,738. There's also one council action item this evening. The board recommends awarding contract 8-21 Jewelers Park Drive Trail, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Hillstrom,
Second.
seconded by Alderman Borchert. Discussion or questions on this item? I will tell you this. Director Hayes and I did have a face-to-face meeting with another company that we had talked to you about them participating in this project. They were going to try and get back to me early this week to give me, hopefully give me an answer of how much, not if, but how much. They've probably been pretty busy the last 2 days. That company had the fire, so I didn't want to bother them today or yesterday. So I did not reach out to them and make a call to them or anything. Figure they got enough on their plate. But I think Director Hayes will tell you that when they left the room, there is a handshake commitment to participate. It was just, did not know at what level. So I will just tell you.
Thank you.
And once again, it's another one of these projects that's, over what the estimated was, when we originally estimated this. And there is an alternative to this that, for this project also. But a lot of discussion was held on that. With that, I'll call on Alderman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. So with the vote to approve the expenditure, needs to be a identified mechanism to pay. So I think we need to understand what that is.
Okay. Alderman Hillstrom, were you going to amend this motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. There was a change made in the meeting yesterday. So the friendly amendment by Bates and Hillstrom recommend council award contract 8-21 Jewelers Park Drive Trail bid plus alternate bid to Vinton Construction Company in the amount of $1,481,050.61 contingent upon a fully executed MOU. And then that passed at the meeting.
Is that considered a friendly amendment? Or-
Yeah, because he's the original motion maker, so as long as Brian.
Brian, you okay with that?
I'm good. And just so that everyone knows, the agenda came out before the meeting, so it was agendized for the item, and then the actual motion was different, so that's why the discrepancy.
So to Council President Stevenson's question on the funding.
Well, actually, if I could,
Go ahead.
I guess I didn't quite understand that what Alderperson Hillstrom just reported out came through the Board of Public Works? And what was that? What happened there? I guess I'm not aware of it, so I just want to know.
So what you have on your agenda was published on Friday, because that's when we publish our agenda. The Board of Public Works didn't meet until yesterday, so we just put an item on here without the specifics of the motion. The minutes for that meeting are online, so Alderman Hillstrom just pulled up the actual motion, which is the same approval awarding the contract to a company with the specific bid amount with a contingency that the MOU, which talks about where the funding comes from in terms of Jewelers Mutual's contribution, making sure that is signed and in place before the contract is awarded.
Okay, so what is the contract amount then?
Char just put it on the screen for you.
So it's, okay, so that's what we had the discussion in committee about, 1.481 million? Okay, so I think we need to have, we're authorizing $1.481 million of spending. Let's make sure we identify where we're going to pull the dollars from. Include that in the motion.
Okay, the memo that I had provided to the board and the council lists the funding sources for the project. We have the
So
2020.
you're coming from the memo you provided?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, we gotta include that, that's all.
Yeah.
You don't have to,
Oh,
as long as we
okay.
know what we're doing.
Okay.
But nowhere does we even reference how we're gonna pay for it. So if it's per the memo, let's just say per the memo, so that we all know.
Do you want him to identify the items on the menu?
I got the memo here somewhere. Oh,
Okay.
Thank you.
So there we go. So $463,000 from 2020 and 2021 TID 7 budget for the project. TID 7 uncommitted fund balance of $492,000. That's the money that hasn't been expended yet from TID 7. And then we know of a committed donation from Jewelers Mutual of $500,000. That totals $1,455,000. The gap we expect to be covered by other donations that are still being
Well, let's include that,
worked on.
because we're $30,000, $27,000 short. So if we're anticipating other contributions, let's make sure we include that in our motion.
Okay. So we will make sure that that's in the motion.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
And it'll be in the minutes also. So that way there'll be a history and people will know how we got there, okay? Director Hayes?
Just want maybe a question for Director Easker. The assumption is if our fundraising effort is more successful than the little gap that we have now, the uncommitted fund balance would be reduced accordingly?
That would certainly be my desire to see that.
That was our hope. So if you'd like, also, I suppose we could make sure that that's in the minutes too, that if more dollars are come in through
Donation.
those channels, the uncommitted will be
From TIF 7.
reduced, right?
Is that what you're
From
talking
TIF
about?
7?
We'll reduce the reliance on TIF 7 excess down.
And as soon as I know what that commitment is, I'll send out a little memo. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. One other point we wanted to cover as well from the Board of Public Works was that we wanted to recognize that Jewelers Mutual did put in money before this. And that had to do with they were spending up to $100,000 on planning and design, I believe. Is that correct? Engineering. And they've already done that, and that's already been taken care of, and it's not actually part of the 1.4.
And I would just like to say, when we first started this, Chris and I met, and I kind of said it's probably not going to happen without outside help, without someone from the community stepping up. And Jewelers Mutual made this generous offer, and so that's, I think, why we're here today. And there was alternatives. We didn't have to do the alternative in that, but I think it's going to be a really neat project. And because of Jewelers Mutual stepping up to the plate, we're able to do these types of projects and have that partnership with the taxpayers and companies that do business in our community and call Neenah home. So really exciting. So Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just wondering when the project will start and when do you anticipate that it will be done?
As City Attorney Westbrook mentioned, the MOU between the city and Jewelers Mutual will get finalized. The contractor over winter will, what we're expecting is abutment work for the bridge crossings to get placed and probably initial grading for most of the trail. And then most of the work will actually occur next spring with construction of the bridges and the road work on Jewelers Park Drive.
I've noticed that a lot of trees have been cleared around Jewelers. Is that in anticipation of this?
No, that's actually been work that they initiated on their own that really didn't have anything to do with the trail project.
Okay.
Okay, good question. Alderman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. So Jerry, one other question. We had heard rumblings about additional remediation work in Neenah Creek this past summer, but that never came to fruition. Have we any updates on that and
Sure.
how that might affect our schedule for this?
Yeah, they actually had an email from their environmental engineer today. They have requested additional mapping for the storm sewer system, really for the whole extent of the slough, all the way up to the mouth of Little Lake Butamore.
And who asked for that?
That would be the engineers for Neenah Foundry.
Okay.
And so we provided that to them along with some information on really what areas are actually flowing into the Neenah Slough watershed. They had earlier, I want to say about 2 months ago, had gone along that about up to Adams Street and just grabbed samples of the sediment in the slough. So they're still kind of collecting their information and in discussions with DNR on the extent of any further cleanup work that might be necessary.
there's a couple things. In our discussion last week, Director Hayes made us aware that the potential new partner on the golf course may want some access off of Jewelers Park Road. And is there any concern with staff that this project moving forward to complete might cause issues with that project coming to fruition?
Go ahead.
I don't think so. The prospective developer is well aware of our plans. The exception where we're going to have to coordinate things is on the former Fairway 9. The bridge locations, anything north of Cameron or south of the bridge at the south end of Fairway 9 won't conflict with anything they're doing, but we're going to have to coordinate things along Fairway 9, which again they're well aware of. I spoke with them, and they're in the process of at least starting to look at concepts for that particular area so that we can mutually plan that area to meet everything that they would like to do while still providing a location.
Well, I don't ask that question because I want to do the community development job, but I also want, you're smart enough to know that this project's going forward, and we're also in discussions that's multifaceted, and obviously you're aware of it. So, yeah, I just don't want to build something then have that build an investment cause us an issue that we hold our arms up and say, shucks, why didn't we think of that?
Nor do we.
Yeah,
So we're
exactly.
coordinating.
So,
We'll be coordinating as we move forward.
thank you.
All right, thanks for the question. Anyone else? All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion will vote aye. Any opposed, vote no. On the roll call machine, please. That motion passes 9-0.
That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Landmarks Commission, Alderperson Lang.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things from the Landmarks meeting on September 22nd. There is a need for a realtor to serve on the commission, so if anybody is aware of a realtor who might have an interest in that, please let us know. Also, the committee discussed recognition of historic properties that have done significant work to maintain and improve their homes over the past year. So we are reviewing some projects in order to determine what we would like to recognize and honor this year. But that concludes my report.
Thank you. Sustainable Neenah Committee, is there any report, Alderperson Borchert?
No report.
Thank you. Business Neighborhood Groups, the Business Improvement District Board, the Bid Board, Alderperson Lang.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting from the bid board meeting that was September 21st. The co-op partners meeting is October 13th at 8:30 a.m. In the Collaboration Center. That's the third floor of the Chase Building for those who would like to attend that. That's an every other year meeting between the city, the bid, and future Neenah to discuss ongoing operations of the bid. The thank you of the month that they are starting to do each month goes out to Pat Benson and Greg Radke for all their assistance with maintenance and other matters in the downtown. Lion's Tail Brewery received a placemaking grant. This is a new grant program for the bid, and Lion's Tail received that towards the purchase of 2 removable planters to be placed at the entrance to the parking lot to increase the curb appeal of their business. There was extended discussion about the retention and recruitment grant app. All of the grants that were applied for were ultimately approved. Overall, the board believed that the applications were important to improving the downtown and the experience and safety of visitors, so those were approved. Other business, Future Neenah is looking for a new employee to fill the maintenance role. The downtown Wi-Fi and camera project has encountered a fiber optics issue, and that's taking longer than originally anticipated. Their wine walk was held on September 25th. The new Lakeshore signs were dedicated. Very Neenah Christmas is expected to occur on December 3rd. The last day of the farmers market is October 16th. There were 1,200 participants signed up for Log Your Loops this year, which is amazing. And then also the Plaza Open House is October 28th. I'm sure people are aware of that, but put that on your calendars. And then Small Business Saturday will be November 27th. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Bergstrom Mahler Museum, Alderperson Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Bergstrom Mahler Museum of Glass met on Wednesday, September 27th, virtually. They have a new exhibit, Between Us, a retrospective of work by John Littleton and Kate Vogel, which will run from October 1st to February 13th. And on Saturday, October 9th, from 10 to 1, there is an art activity day, which is a Halloween ghost. So you can go and design a ghost with fused glass. That concludes my report. If you have any questions, visit the website. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the report. And finally, the Park Commission report. Alderperson Borchert.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting from our meeting on September 16th, once again touring our parks. We were at Washington Park Pavilion. Arrowhead Phase 1B, Prairie and Path Pier, continues to move along. Working with DNR right now to secure approval and for permits. The pier portion is scheduled to be bid out this fall with winter construction. Prairie and Path likely to be bid out in the winter and spring, fall 2023 development, contingent on material from other cities or from other city projects. Arrowhead Park ambassadors will be promoting the iNaturalist app to document habitat improvements in the park. More information is forthcoming. Doty Court redevelopment has been completed. Teller play equipment has been recently installed and opened this past Saturday. The TikTok challenge of wrecking schools and public property has been impacting us quite a bit. Several restrooms have been vandalized. The police department has been working diligently to eliminate the problem. And then fall recreational program registration has gone very well, with many of the programs already filled.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much for your report. There are no petitions that I'm aware of. Any council directives anyone would like to discuss? It's been a while. Do we have a list of council? Is there any on there? Okay, I think they've all been taken care of, so.
Is my driveway one still on there?
That was
I didn't think we removed it formally. I thought we put it, we'll check.
We'll check.
Okay.
We'll check on it. Anything under unfinished business? Under new business, any announcements or questions that may legally come before the council? Is there anyone with any announcements before I give a couple? Alderman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. Per the Community Development Department and Carol Chasm more specifically, She asked Chris to hand out the School for Seniors information, which is Friday, October 15th, 8:30 to 11:30 a.m. Unlike our previous meetings, years past, we are having it this year at Washington Park. Please RSVP by October 13th by calling the Community Development Office in the city. Thank you.
Alderman Lang.
This isn't like particularly important, but I just wanted to make note that the street name is Breen, not Brian, and it was named after a Civil War veteran.
Okay.
I think that's what I told the CDA.
Well,
Mike Easker should have corrected this. He said he knew that.
I did not know that. All right, if Jane says that's what it is, that's what it is, okay? So,
And I wasn't a friend of Mr. Breen, so I should have.
oh, wow, okay, no, I appreciate it, so I did not know that, I learned something. Just a couple things I have real quick here. I do want to say I'm really thankful and pleased. Neenah Menasha Fire did have a major fire that they worked on, of course, yesterday. Only one injury, minor injury, to one of the Neenah Menasha firemen. Slight injury, knee injury, I believe. Other than that, you know, this had the potential to be a very difficult fire and a very, you know, catastrophic fire, and they did a wonderful job. And I also want to say thank you to all the surrounding departments. This is another one of those, it's called a box call, but they have a MABUS system set up that everyone helps everyone else when they need it. And we had firemen from Oshkosh, Town of Neenah, Village of Fox Crossing, Harrison, I think Town of Algoma sent some, Appleton was on manning our stations. Town of Buchanan was here manning our stations. And as it always happens, while that big fire is going on and it's every man on deck, and we had other calls. We had a gas leak. Someone hit a gas pipe during that time. We had other EMS calls to attend to. So it's really kind of neat to be able to watch and see how the system works, and that they just fill in the gaps seamlessly. And the dispatchers and everyone does a really good job of making sure that while major events like that are going on, you can be sure the rest of the city is still taken care of. You might have someone with a different patch come and help you, but the fact is that someone will be there and we don't skip a beat. So it's pretty cool. My job was to run water, Gatorade, out to the scene because everyone was gone, and Tara called and he said, "Do you want to take a fire truck?" I said, "No, I'll take my pickup truck." So that was my job. So I did Channel 5, talked about Neenah, had a good little 4.5-minute community update on Channel 5 yesterday. So if you haven't seen it, Joni put it on Facebook, and a lot of positive comments and that from everyone, except those of you who know me, and Todd lives by me, so he knows my truck never leaves before 7 a.m. And I was actually on the road at 5:25 to get to the Green Bay studio. So that in itself is...
That was the night before, 5 o'clock.
And that was that. If you haven't seen the signage on Lakeshore, I urge you to go take a look at it. Pretty cool. And use your phone here to put up to the thing to listen to it. So that's kind of neat. This past week, we had a really cool concert last week. Jane kind of set up with Bill Miller at Riverside. And it was the most still night of the summer, I think. And it was just calm, and listening to these flutes and the instruments that he was playing. It was really cool. So everybody had a blast. So thanks, Jane, for doing that. And lastly, I would just say we are slowly getting towards the finish line of my part of the budget. We are grinding along. The operating, Mike and Andy and that have been doing a wonderful job of helping me. There's a lot of pieces of this puzzle. And in a year where it just kind of boggles my mind that all I'll say about it is this. It's all based on growth. How much you can spend is based on growth. And you look around Neenah and you see all the growth. And I'm having a senior moment here, so that's school for seniors. I qualify. But Mike, what was our growth about? 26 million?
Correct. And that provided the ability for us to increase the levy by approximately $77,000.
So $26 million of growth we experienced, but yet under the levy limits that I voted for. And you know, glad we did back then, but keep telling the legislature that they've got to do something about public safety. Public safety is outstripping our ability to keep up with the cost. And we're allowed to go up $77,000 where police, fire, and I'm not picking on them, I'm just saying that that's the fact. And people want police, fire, they want their garbage picked up, and health insurance, you know, those types of 4 major things. And then, of course, you got all the employees were, you know, getting raises, and we're seeing market analysis. And next year we're having a study on salary plans and things like that. So it's a challenge, and Mike and Andy are doing a great job. But the operating budget will be, I think, it'll be what it is, and I think it'll be, you'll find that, you know, we did what we could, and we're going to get there. The CIP, a little bit more challenge. Leave it at that at this point. But especially with how things are in the marketplace and that right now. But all coming up. If you have, we'll start looking at the schedule. We'll talk to the council president a little bit more now about what nights we're going to meet and things like that in November. I think scheduled the first week, 1st through the 11th, and we'll get that out to you, and it's going okay. So, okay. Anyone has any last-minute suggestions or something? Feel free to tell me, but we'll do it together, so we'll get it done. Other than that, that's all I have. Anyone else have anything for the good of the order? Alderman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. I was wondering if you'd had any discussion with Dr. Andrabi lately.
Last week or so, still, you know, very concerned about the number of ICU beds being used within the hospital structure in the Fox Valley area. They were well over 90% capacity. Still stressing wearing masks when in big groups, and get vaccinated. I mean, that's what their message is, to get vaccinated. And, you know, I don't know what the status of the federal legislation is, or the federal order from either the president or whoever agency he was doing it, but we you know, getting vaccinated, and a lot of companies, a lot of healthcare institutions are putting deadlines on their employees. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I'm hopeful that people will voluntarily get vaccinated, because in my opinion, that's the right way to go. All right. I appreciate everything, and we'll meet here in the middle of October. So is there anyone else? If not, is there a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Alderman Lundgren moves, seconded by Alderman Boyette. They've been voting together all night, so. Is there any discussion?
We're not wrong.
That was one we didn't need to hear.
Oh, boy. All in favor of adjournment,
It
say
means
aye.
nothing.
All opposed, say no. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin, Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.